Alrighty then, dear viewers, where did that 8th driver go? We are here for the 8th round of the ARC GT3 Championship Challenge. Same thing. Had to diversify the names somehow. Round 8 of 12, the 2/3 mark of the season takes us to Austria and to the Red Bull Ring, where it is cold. Obviously cold enough to be snowing on the track. Obviously none standing on the road surface, but the snow is falling. Oh, Matthew Daly must have had some kind of about some mechanical failure. No, it's a little too literal. Technical difficulties. Although Francisco Alonso is not here today, due to some complications with Wi-Fi, or his Wi-Fi company. There is a Ferrari that is the first one to venture onto the circuit. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is not far from getting things started this evening for the qualifying session. Points are not a massive talking point today, all told. As Jurgensmeyer heads down the front straightaway to begin the first lap of the day. Plenty of clear track, to say the least, as the Mercedes brigade is exiting the pits behind him. It's kind of a funny image. I think that's literally all of the Mercedes in the lobby, and there are 4 of them. Okay, no, 2 of them are not, but 2 of them were on the way out in that shot. Braking for what I will still call turn 2, because that little kink doesn't count. Red Bull Ring is a track that's mostly determined by who has the best traction on exit. And secondarily, who can get the best straight line speed going into the braking zones of turns 1, 2, and 3. Basically, lap time will be determined by exit traction and momentum, while overtakes will be made with straight line speed, as well as that traction. Bit of a wiggle for Jurgensmeyer through the 6-7 complex. Or I guess 5-6, really. Oh, that's an even bigger wiggle. Ooh, he does not keep it off the wall. And that lap has been thwarted. Dylan Bam had his lap invalidated, but that might have been his out lap, so he might be coming across to set one right here. Neither of the 2 cars that were behind Jurgensmeyer were on hot lap. Stotts with a 46.5. That's just an out lap, I mean. Other way around. Dylan Bam heads out of the last turn in his Porsche, and we'll see if this is a valid lap or not. No, it isn't. Okay, so that did happen on this run. Jurgensmeyer exiting the pits right behind Dylan Bam. Who was this car in the final turn? Somebody is there. Well, that's Matthew Stotts in it now. Who just crossed the line? That's not Matthew Stotts, that's Travis Newstorm. It was Logan Cool with a 43.2 and shattering a braking board. And I guess he had his hand off the controller too. Well, obviously you can't drive when you have the pause menu up, so. Yeah, that's an out lap. So halfway through the session, we have 1 fast lap time put in, maybe 2, but I don't think that 44.5 is... No, it's not Matthew Stotts' true pace, and I don't think that's Logan's either, really. A 43 seems slow even for these conditions, and even for Logan Cool, so I don't know. Also, now if Matthew Daly disconnects, he will be out of luck because the session timer doesn't have a whole lot in it. And just as I say that, he disconnects. Apparently it's not Francisco Alonso alone who's having some Wi-Fi technical difficulties, but he's not even attempting to start the race because of those, while Matthew Daly is trying and the internet is not allowing him. Stotts had the first fast lap of the session, a 34.4, but was immediately ousted by fellow AMG driver AJ Knickel with a 33.2. A tenth and change off that is DIVEBOMB with a 33.3. Luis Ramirez also making his way through the sort of middle part of the track. Travis Van Oostendorp heading towards the final corner, really playing it risky with the track limits at these two turns. If the game allows that, we'll see what he's produced here. Lap time, a 35.8. Nothing spectacular, but you know, the first step is to get something on the board, and I don't think the game is going to have that line. So I can officially say that Matthew Daly will not be participating in qualifying. He'll be lucky to be able to actually start the race. As Jurgensmeyer gets a cheerleader in the chat, he also gets really risky with the exit of turn 4/5. Stretching the gears for every inch they're worth in that 488. Just funny how early auto gears would shift. That is an interesting line. Final turn for the number 2 car. And we'll see what he can produce. A 35.9, so the slowest of the representative laps. Logan Cool is sitting in the pit lane, so he seems to be living with that 43.2. He would need to be getting out on the track right now if he were to attempt to get any faster. Luis Ramirez also ran a 35.3 in the background of that I failed to notice. Logan is trying to get on the track at the very last second, but that's going to be really dangerously cutting it close. AJ does not improve, but that may have also been an outlap. Logan's going to have to beat his qualifying lap just to get around in time to start another lap. Dylan Bam is off in search of the Mojave Desert. Not going to be setting any quick lap times over there. Almost gets stuck in there. In real life, he would have absolutely been stuck out there, considering it would be mud more so than sand. While he's searching for uncharted territories and or hidden treasure, Matthew Stotts runs a slower lap. The conditions may just not be suitable to improve qualifying times anymore, now that we've had about 9 minutes of snowfall onto the circuit. The track is probably pretty damp. Matthew Daly gets one more disconnect in, and at this point I think it's safe to say he probably won't even be able to stay in the lobby for the race either. So he's probably just bankrupt there. It's not really the term I wanted to use, but I guess it works. So AJ Knickel returns to the pit lane, getting some pit entry practice in. The condition is probably not like cohesive to fast lap times at all at this point. Won't stop Matthew Stotts and a couple of others from trying regardless. Stotts is down by 0.3. He would need to find a whole second to improve, and he has a second worth of buffer over Luis Ramirez, who just got it barely over the line in time. He'll get one more try to find that whole second worth of time. Travis Van Oostendorp will find no time and instead find the inside barrier. He will clear the road. Logan Cool appears to be on something. He's on his lap. He got there. Surprisingly, he got there in time. He's up by a second. But who's to say he didn't have a mistake in the second or third sectors that resulted in him being 8 seconds off the pace at the moment. CL7's a lone representative this week after, well, I actually reserved for him last week. The race did go on from Brno, but with only 6 other drivers there, I actually stepped into the car myself to reserve for Logan Cool in his absence. He's up by 2 seconds, so I don't think he's gonna, if he stays in the track boundaries, I don't think he's gonna be improving his position, but he'll at least be able to, 1, get a better lap time in, and 2, get some track time in. At least make it look a little less embarrassing for him than to be off pace by 8 seconds to the next car. He does not get it rotated well into the final turn at all. The game is going to allow it, though. He'll cross and improve his lap time for sure, by an unknown amount. He improved from a 43 to a 39, so he brought it down to 6 seconds off pole. But no, in reality, that's still, I mean, it's not super competitive. Not gonna mince words, you know? And he probably knows that. Logan Cool's goal has never been to be the fastest driver. So here we sit on the grid while we pan through. Matthew Daly is here, but he is too late to reach the start of the sprint. If anything, he may want to now focus on trying to get his internet fixed so he can run the feature. If that's even possible. Try resetting the router and whatnot. Quick glance at the points going into this round, as a post went up on the Instagram and everything else earlier. I mean, it's pretty much a done deal at the top of the board, with a combined 374 points between the 44R drivers. AJ 100 points over second place. Matthew Daly, Francisco Alonso, and Connor Hannock are not even here. So the gap between second and third in standings among present drivers is 39 points. 137 Daly, 98 Bam. Ramirez, another 42 back, ahead of Logan Cool by 2 points, though, so that's the first real battle in points. 56 Ramirez, 54 Cool, and 48 Jurgensmeyer. And then Matthew Stotts and Travis Van Oostendorp have not made many starts this season, so they are not exactly in the running for much. And even then, I say, that's assuming Matthew Daly can even get into the feature race, because he's not made it into the sprint. He could not stay in the lobby for more than 2 minutes. And he's disconnected once more as the session begins properly. So we have our faux red lights, but this does not dictate the start of the event. The formation lap. Yeah, I think at this point, bringing up the standings for anybody other than really, it's like you got Luis, Jurg, and Logan. Those are the only ones racing for any sort of standings at the moment, because the only 3 that are near each other. Everybody else is literally just in like their own separate little island of standings, and it's kinda just pointless. Especially when Matthew isn't even here either, so now the gap between Dylan and AJ are like 49. No, wait, I have math wrong. Of the drivers that are here, Dylan has 98. AJ Knickel has 237. So, yeah, no, point standings kind of just irrelevant. There is nothing to do there. So, not even going to waste my breath bringing it back up from this point forward. The field doubles up here. AJ Knickel on pole, followed by Dylan Bam. I can't actually tell the order because they're doubled up. Matthew Stotts, Luis Ramirez, Travis Van Oostendorp, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, and Logan Cool rounds out the grid. As we head out of the last turn to get things underway from the snow-covered Spielberg sprint race. Alliteration go, and so does the race. AJ gets well clear of his opponents as we head towards the first corner. I think Ford had probably had the earliest opportunity, but doesn't have the best T1. Matthew Stotts is right there after getting Dylan Bam off the... Oh my god, in the background there's been destruction. Luis Ramirez oversteered right into Logan Cool's path. That's a two-car incident. I think we're just waiting for a caution to be called here. We remain green for the moment, interestingly enough. I don't know why we're green still. That looked like that would have definitely a two-car incident based on the fact that Logan is now 14 seconds off the pack. Oh, deja vu, Matthew Stotts. Can you hold it? No, you cannot hold it. And AJ Knickel ran off the circuit as well. He keeps it off the wall at least, so there's no damage. Dylan Bam is now suddenly taking a shot at Knickel, trying the outside of turn 5. Nothing doing there. At this point, just trying to apply pressure to the AMG, who's already been pressured since the exit of turn 1. Try and get the Canadian driver to crack. Dylan Bam should have his headlights on. I don't know why he doesn't. It's snowing. That's precipitation. Jurgensmeyer also with a really good race start. He's up to 3rd place, I believe, from 5th or 6th. I think 6th, actually. That's a line from Dylan Bam. I don't think the game stewards are going to appreciate that line. As we have one lap in the books. Matthew Daly is back, only for him to probably disconnect again in a handful of moments. We got the better run there. Oh, it was definitely Dylan Bam. He's going to have massive momentum. Stotts got back ahead of Jurgensmeyer in the background, but we're busy watching this battle for the lead play out early on in the sprint round. Dylan clear when he applies the brakes. Does he get it stopped? Not really. AJ can clear on exit. Somebody has disconnected or left the race. That would be Travis. So we're now down to a grid no bigger than what you were racing with in Gran Turismo 1. This time, Dylan Bam does clear AJ and does get the car slowed down in time. So we have our 3rd race leader in about 3 minutes' time. Logan Cool in the pit lane. I'm still not sure why that wasn't called as a crash, or as a caution, I should say. The way that Ramirez oversteered right into Logan, sending the McLaren driver off into the unknown, just about. As up to Dylan Bam to keep that Porsche under him. Something he's sometimes able to do, but other times less so. I go on board AJ Knickel as we complete the 2nd of 9 green flag laps scheduled for today. At least for the sprint race. We still have another 18 after this. Not super close. He's in the spot where he can take advantage if Dylan makes a mistake, which isn't out of the question, but... Oh, that's super late braking. The Porsche will get the run off, but it will not be conclusive by any means. AJ Knickel will have gained plenty of time there, and looks to gain more time here. Although he doesn't brake quite as aggressively this time, he'll actually lose a touch of time. Actually, they hold about even, 3.5 tenths or so. Soon enough, they'll be coming across the recently repaired Logan Cool as well, which might play a factor. Logan will have plenty of time to get out of the way, though, at a circuit like this. So, maybe, perhaps not. 2.5 tenths back now is AJ Knickel. Although the gap looks bigger than that, it isn't. It's so close to almost bumping him. Looking cool. Takes to the paved area. This camera is so far away, I cannot tell what is going on. You're looking cool is leaving the track to give space to the lead lap cars. There's a bit of oversteer on the way into turn 1 for AJ Knickel. That's not going to help his case. But we have seen he is able to brake really late at the hilltop hairpin, as it were. Not quite closing in so much compared to the previous lap, though, so kind of just remain neutral at the moment. The drivers that are not named AJ Knickel or DIVEBOMB are pretty equally spread out right now, essentially. Oh, didn't let me to press that. On board again with the Canadian driver. Oh, that's a huge wiggle for DIVEBOMB. That's not the button, me. Trackside, not all. A huge wiggle for DIVEBOMB is going to cost him the lead. Does he have the pace to take it back? Or is AJ just going to do AJ things and just ride off into a completely obscured sunset, even if it's like noon at the start of the race? But you know what I mean. Figure of speech. Matthew Stott's also slowly creeping his way into the battle. Just over a second behind Dylan, 2 behind AJ Knickel. If Dylan gets back up there and he battles AJ Knickel, that might drag Matthew Stott's into affairs. He's certainly going to get there braking like that. Literally at a dead heat on the back straightaway, courtesy of Slipstream for the Porsche, but the AMG being the Mercedes. It's a bit wide at turn 4, though. Oh, but that is unusually oversteery. That's a Porsche moment if ever I saw one for DIVEBOMB, and that's going to pretty much end his sprint race right there. I can't tell if he's just questioning his life choices or if he's waiting for a fully cleared track before merging back onto the circuit. Oh no, he's just pondering life. Because he could be merging now and he just isn't. Now he finally elects to rejoin the circuit before we had to bring a safety car out for debris on the track. Or something, I don't know. I wouldn't have hated if we had to do that, because that would have closed things back up for the last 4 laps here. Instead, it is up to Stotts, and Stotts alone, to gain about 1.5 seconds on AJ Knickel. He broke super aggressively there, and almost well, he had some of it on entry, but AJ just got such a big exit that it really actually was a net loss for the CLE driver. I almost said for the AMG driver, which, I mean, that's not wrong, but he's not the only one in the frame right now. And that just seems to be the difference in their driving styles. Stotts is getting aggressive on the braking, but AJ is focused on the way out of the turn, not the way in. And so in all reality, as I said in qualifying, it's all about that exit traction and that momentum. And you can see what it's doing for AJ as he's up by 0.5 seconds and looking to run a lap that would not have been too bad in today's qualifying session, all told. Whether that's to speak to how fast this lap's about to be, or to the fact that the qualifying session was admittedly kind of mediocre. .35.8 in the books for AJ Knickel, and yet somehow Matthew Stotts answers a 35.2. That, I believe, might actually have been faster than Stotts had run in qualifying, so he's found his footing in the car, and it's almost like he never left. He's keeping up with the driver who's won, like, 8 races this season. Out of... or no, not even 80. I think he's up to 10 following Bruno. 10 out of 14 that have been contested thus far. And Matthew Stotts is not making it super easy for him. Oh, get it stopped. Just barely gets it stopped for the hairpin there. Will cost time, but it's better than finding the sand trap. Keeping it within about a second through the second sector and heading into the final one. These last 2 corners can be sketchy in dirty air. The snow has also stopped. We're now looking at dry weather. The track is still moist though, so you cannot do anything with it. It's just going to get slightly faster. That's probably how we're seeing a 34.9 from Stotts. Dylan Bam has retired the car, so Logan Cool is going to get a top 5 just by simply not putting the steering wheel up for the day. As he is often one to do, Logan Cool is where he is on the standings not for being fast, but for being simply alive. I think in these drying, slightly changing conditions, Matthew Stotts is adapting marginally better as we head into the last lap and a half of racing here. How adventurous does Stotts feel? He might feel like trying to sneak a victory in here. And they'd be in the same car manufacturer. But these two are not teammates. They're not going to race. They're going to risk something here, I'm sure of it. If Stotts can manage to get the car stopped for turn 4 on the next lap, that'll be much more helpful. Well, he was making time of it. I think that he lost a bit of his steam there. The gap is back to basically where it was at the end of the last lap, so AJ ran the second sector he needed to try and give himself some insurance. Stotts just needs a good run out of turn 1, and he might have a chance into 3. Slipstream and a good exit will carry him there. They're literally at a dead heat on the corner exit as far as that's concerned. Slipstream is going to do something, but it's going to be up to Stotts to do the rest of the work. 3/10 apart for the last really good braking zone. Stotts has not been shown to have the greatest confidence into the 4th turn, so I think that this might be sealed up for AJ unless something drastic happens. Again, 3.5 apart. Oh, bumper to the back of the 124, but it's ultimately inconsequential. AJ actually stayed on the road in spite of the contact, even if Stotts went for the bump and run. I don't think he'd even gotten it. Oh, and that's just, oh boy. A bit of off-road racing for Matthew Stotts. He will survive, but, I mean, there wasn't really much of a chance in passing through here anyway, so he was probably trying to manufacture something and Didn't work. So out of the last turn, that's also the 123 car of AJ Knickel. Heads across the line and takes his 11th victory of the GT3 Challenge season. Matthew Stott's second place on return. I believe this may very well be his first start of the season. But you wouldn't think he'd been gone for months, considering he put up a better fight against AJ Knickel than even AJ's own teammate can, or Dylan in most of the season's races. Jurgensmeyer will cross for third place, a very distant third place, mind you. Logan Cool crosses a lap down, but still with the P5 to show for it, just based on the fact that he didn't just up and give up the second that things got inconvenient, even when he got whacked on the first turn. And Luis Ramirez will claim P4. Well, gee, I don't know, Matthew Daly. Get your internet in order and get in here and beat him then. Because Stott's got closer here than you've gotten since, like, Donington, maybe? Actually, not Donington. What was the track where you bumped him? I've been way too many races this year. It seems we're resetting the lobby, possibly to try and help Matthew stay in the lobby if we believe it might be bugged out or something. Only reason they can think would be resetting it. There it is. I'm like, where is this invite? Wait for Dylan Bam to arrive before we hopefully get our feature race going. AJ's having to fix some settings too, because I see, well, we are only looking at a 17 lap feature right now rather than 18. There is Bam. Yeah, I'm not surprised you would. I'm still surprised that was not a yellow, considering that was a two-car incident, and it very obviously had to have done quite a bit of damage to you, just based on what I saw off the replay camera when you were way off in the background. And he's gone, and he's taking Stotts with him. Matthew drags Matthew out of the session. Forget beating your teammate, you can't even beat your ISP. We're gonna at least wait for Stotts to get back in, give Matthew one more college try. I don't know, where did that term come from anyway? Also, Travis is in the wrong car, I believe. One more effort from the 44-hour driver to maybe stay in the session. It's not even like his connectivity is bad. He's still got that like kind of off-green color. His connection, his ping, is apparently still better than Ramirez's ping is. But that's not allowing him, that's not enough to actually like keep him in the session, clearly, because he's disconnected from it at least 8 or 9 times. He stayed in it so far. Apparently we're only having an 18-lap feature. I'm not sure if that was just a mistake or if we're just deciding to shorten it for time. Or maybe there's just a miscalculation earlier when Stott said there was an 18-lap feature. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust myself in the chair. Hey. The snow is little more than flurries at the moment, although that might just be because we haven't actually started the session yet and escalate as the race starts. I'm not sure. Fake red lights, even though I think somebody was revving as if it were a real start. So Matthew Daly will start last due to the fact that he didn't even run the sprint. Travis is still in the wrong car. He's supposed to be in the 75, I think. But with the reverse grid applied, Travis Van Oostendorp will lead us to green, followed by Dylan Bam, Logan Cool, Luis Ramirez, Jonathan Juergensmeyer, Matthew Stotts, our sprint race winner AJ Knickel, and then Matthew Daly will have to work from the back of the field after, well, his internet did not allow him to contest the sprint race at all. And I'm surprised it's now suddenly cooperative, basically out of nowhere, as far as I can tell. I wish this were more reliable instead of just showing me 4 different variations of the same camera. That would be nice to have rotating views like we have in real broadcasts with things like the NASCAR's rear bumper cam and there being T-cams in F1. We got on-board cameras, I guess, but I don't use them that often, all considered. But we'll head through the final turn. Travis is in control of the race start, and he is going to floor it immediately and actually oversteer. He was that eager to get going, he almost lost control. Dylan is taking an unusual racing line, I would say, allowing Logan Cool to overtake pretty easily into turn 1. But McLaren's going to get nowhere on exit, and the Porsche will come right back at him as we head towards turn 3. They're both hunting down that AMG. I don't know what happened there that Travis had such a bad run. Down the inside goes the McLaren. They make contact at the apex. Blatantly, Logan just missing his braking point. Dylan Bam is exploring some more. He's taking out a signboard. Logan Cool leads the GT3 race at the start of the feature. For the time being. Gets a little tap from Travis, and Ramirez with a very unique interpretation of the racing line. And we're under caution. I don't know what happened, unless that sign must have fallen onto the track. I don't know how this was a caution. And yet, 2-car incident at the start of the last race was not. But, I'm only assuming there's debris somewhere on that back straightaway. Otherwise, I am absolutely in the dark. The timing of the caution, apparently it was called before we hit turn 4. So that gave Logan Cool the lead back. Which would be an interesting development. Maybe Dylan dropped something off. He's in the pit lane. I'm beginning to really wonder what happened and all that. Why? I'm really beginning to wonder what happened and all that. Why was Dylan refusing to stay on the road? Why was he taking to the grass in turn 1 and turn 4, going towards 4 even? Neither. He was normal in turn 3. I don't really know why that was the only time he took the normal racing lines. I'm still just absolutely puzzled by what Dylan was doing, and some also just the awkward racecraft I saw going through turns 3 and 4 seemed like a completely different field of drivers. Especially in comparison to the start of the sprint race, where everything seemed relatively normal except for what happened between Ramirez and Cool, which Logan is still seemingly like not pleased about. Nope. Francisco's Wi-Fi just got reactivated apparently. A little late. If that had been like 10 minutes ago, he could have made this feature race, possibly. Well, Dylan is back with the field, so... Record time. Must not have been too much damage for him to fix. And I'm going to just wait for the field to get back around before we can have a second attempt here at maybe making it to the third sector without... I'm still not... Excuse me. I could not get to the mute button in time for that one. That came out of nowhere. Still not sure what the caution was for. I'm just assuming it was debris, either off of Dylan's car or the signboard that he knocked out on the back straightaway when he was, for some reason, deciding to do a bit of WRC before the WRC league has even begun. Don't know why, but here we are. I don't even know if Dylan competes in rally stuff. I don't think so. His teammate Luis will be. I don't know about Dylan. Whenever Logan decides, he decides we are green again from the Red Bull Ring. Second try, essentially a second start here for the feature. Oh, we've got a concertina effect. Logan got a really slow run through turn 1. And he has been clobbered by his old pal Travis Van Oostendorp. AJ is in the grass. There's more chaos in the midfield. I think it was either just AJ not knowing how many cars wide he was or what have you, but he nearly spun it there. Oh, Ramirez has gotten right into the door panel of Travis. And in 3 corners, we've had 3 leaders. Matthew Stotts now leads the way. And Dylan Bam and Jurgensmeyer are behind him. They were nowhere near second or third when we took the green flag. Stotts is way off track. His late braking will eventually catch up to him here, as he's missed that corner so many times. And even after all the chaos, we still got Dylan and AJ running 1-2 as if nothing ever happened at all. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? Honestly. It's like a universal permanence. Luis with an opportunistic look down the inside. I'm not really sure if he expected anything to come of that. Matthew Daly almost about to send Travis Van Oostendorp to Oschersleben on the exit of that turn there. No racing room afforded to him. As the snow has now turned to rain, the track is the ambient temperature is warmed up. Oh my God, Travis is super sideways out of turn 1. Ugh, brain. Everybody's literally in a parade formation as we head towards turn 4. Luis barely stops it, but he slides, and Matthew Daly went even further off. The turn 4 braking zone getting even more treacherous as the race goes on. That, or our drivers get even worse at taking it. Dylan, nope, that's force of habit. That's just Luis again. He spun at 2 separate parts of the corner. Dylan, no! Sorry, force of habit. Luis, no! God, what's that say about the state of that team? End up a battle between teammates here. Stotts has caught his teammate trying to Tranvis. What was that? Transit? Neither one really getting the best run through the first corner. Matthew Daly is not too far away either if these two battle for too long. They look set to go too wide. Travis not letting his teammate off easy. But Stotts does not care. He will get the move done. I think probably the first clean overtake we've seen in the feature race thus far, all told. And it'll leave vulnerability. What? That'll leave Travis vulnerable to Matthew Daly, who will clean up after Stotts' mess. And this time he will barely get it stopped for turn 4. Have a little bit of a thrill ride on the outside curbstones, though. Which leaves Travis within striking distance if he does that again. Now that that's settled, and Dylan Pham running the laps of his life at the current moment, might be a while before we see anything else cooking up here in terms of on-track action. .35.4 for Dylan Pham. So already not far off what was being run at the end of the last race, even with the conditions clearing up at the end of that, while it's still raining rather hard here. That said, Stotts put in a 37 flat even after passing Travis, while Jurg is running a 39.8. So, yeah, he's going to get there pretty quickly, as a matter of fact. And Daly is again lurking in the background if his fellow Matthew is able to make the pass, and especially so if he takes a moment to get it done. That'll bring Matthew Daly closer. And you can hear Jurgensmeyer, he's really putting on the engine brakes there. Or the engine braking. Oh no, Dylan. That's not the racetrack, my guy. And this is why it's force of habit. Unforced error. Finds himself in the sand at the exact same place he spun in the first time. That lost him the lead. And he will lose 3 places before he gets his car back on the circuit. Logan Cool has retired the car for the day. He's already a lap down. Why is Dylan in the dirt again? What are you doing? What is your plan there? Down the inside goes Matthew Stotts, crossover from Jurgensmeyer, while the 75 car struggles to make some cornering speed happen. And Dylan Pham going to get them both, but he's going to find a puddle. And that's going to be more damage to the Porsche. What did I just hear? I heard like a secondary crash after the... Oh. How does that work? How was Travis close enough for me to hear that? What? They're still battling for second, by the way. Matthew Daly has also caught them both in the chaos of turn 1 and 2. Because I guess I'd call that a crash in turn 2, based on where Dylan spun out at. Stotts will finally get ahead. Will he actually be able to stay there? He should be able to anyway. Travis gets a pit lane violation. Love to see that. Must have been speeding. He had no rear wing. That would have... That fact will have affected his braking performance for sure. Looks like we may see Stotts get ahead of his... I was about to say former teammate. I'm not sure about that. If they've been teammates, I don't remember. I don't think so. Maybe on JSR a long time ago. but other than that, I can't think of any time they could have ever been on the same team. Dylan Bam gets his Porsche to the pits. Meanwhile, Jurgensmeyer is attempting to keep the AMG of Daly behind him. Matthew has managed to find his own rhythm going on here, even though he is a bit underprepared, running significantly less track time today than his opponents have, I should say, excuse me. I grammar. Now, he thought about a peak. He had a run, but he didn't have enough of one. Oh, he may not have needed a run with Jurgensmeyer getting a corner exit like that. He still can't get off that curb, so Matthew Daly is going to have a pretty easy opportunity here. And Jurg doesn't even fight it. He tucks in behind the AMG and accepts 4th place for the moment. I was so confused by the leaderboard move because Ramirez has passed his teammate on the track. Albeit just based off the fact he hasn't had to pit again, and Dylan did. He's still in there. He's racked up some major damage from just hitting that puddle alone. He's been lapped by half the field now, in fact. And he's still not on his way out of the pit lane. And he is parking. He will never leave that pit lane again. He is done for the day. Make it a 2nd retirement for Dylan Bam this week. I mean, did you know there was a puddle there? I kind of noticed it. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, though. I knew it was there, so I was like, oh, he found a puddle. I just didn't know it would be that violent of a puddle. And so this leaves just 4 cars on the lead lap, 3 of whom are Mercedes AMGs. Stotts and the 2 44R cars, as we have still 8 laps to go. Luis returns to the pit lane. Assuming for some self-inflicted. Not really sure what else that could be at this point in the race. In the background, my mom laughs at Luis's failure. Probably not at all what she's laughing at, I can assure you, but probably funnier than whatever she's actually watching. Non sequitur. Yeah, can you tell I'm kind of at the bottom of the barrel here for things to commentate? Like, we got Stotts and Daly. Matthew and Matthew are about 3 seconds apart, but that's not exactly a battle yet. Especially not when Stotts, well, extended that lead by about a second or so in that last lap alone. So I don't think Matthew's really going to be able to hang with the 75 car. Yeah, there's we do still have pit stops that need to happen. I'm kind of hoping that maybe somehow that shakes things up. I do not believe any of the top 4 have done their pit stop yet. Either that, or I'm just hoping that we may have something that might resemble a point of interest still to go in today's race before we hit the checkered flag. Stotts continues to up the ante with his fast laps. He's up a 10.5 on his best. Which was, well, I don't know if that was if his last lap was his best lap, but this is a 36.5 he's on right now. Previously, his best lap is 36.3, so AJ's is a 36.1 though, and their current laps are pretty much dead even. So AJ would have to do something pretty ugly to lose this 12-second lead. And, well, I feel like the fact that he has 11 wins speaks to the fact that he really doesn't do that very often. And the fact that he's won the last 9 and probably now winning a 10th championship, given what more he's accomplished today. It's hard to ignore how long-standing this reign is, but also I am really tired of it. And it's just crazy to think that we've run 10 seasons between... Nice Scandinavian flick, Nickel. It's just insane to think that we will run 10 seasons across 2 Project Cars titles here in the GT3 Challenge. And AJ may very well go undefeated across them all. And foreseeably, it may not have anything further for Project Cars 2 after this season, considering what the attendance has been like this season, with multiple races having less than half a field. Brno would have had 6. The commentator had to strap in and run the race just to fill the field. Got 2 fourth places, by the way. Just... I can't sit here and pretend that this is not borrowed time that our little GT3 world is on here, and I have a hard time believing it's going to get any better with, say, IndyCars or Rallycross. You might have like a spark of interest at the start of either one of them, but it's not really an exaggeration to say that the next week of GT3 or the week after that could be the last one. And it could be the last thing we ever do on P Cars. Jurgensmeyer is making his mandatory pit stop. The first of the late pitters, I suppose. Although I think actually Matthew just came out of there, so I think Travis is around on the exit of turn 6. You just use the track reset, which, I mean, normally that wouldn't be allowed unless your car was actually stuck somewhere, but I don't think we care at this point, all things considered. That gap between Knickel and Stotts staying stagnant at 12 seconds, even as the track is now noticeably dried up. And I wonder if maybe one of these two might get adventurous when they take their mandatory stop. Do they put the slicks on, maybe? Is the track really dry enough for that? I see Stotts still kicking up spray, so I'm going to go ahead and say that probably not. But if I'm Matthew Stotts, you kind of got a bit of a buffer, and you got to take chances to win, especially when it's AJ Knickel, who's honestly at this rate they've taken their mandatory so late. Even if Stotts did go in on this lap, I don't think he'd have the pace deficit sufficient to catch him. I don't think he'd have enough. He'd have 3 laps. I don't think that'd be enough time unless AJ had a really bad in lap or something. Unless I'm an idiot and they have already taken the mandatories, they're gonna want to come in like now. Or I guess AJ's saving it until literally the last lap, unless I missed him taking it. But only Dylan went in on the pit stop where it would have been possible. So 3 laps to go. Another retirement for Luis Ramirez. Or I guess you should say another retirement, comma, this time for Ramirez. He also disconnects for bonus points. I have nothing to say. Apparently, fastest lap now goes to Matthew Daly. He just ran a 34.0. I don't know where on earth he pulled that out of. Maybe he had some hidden qualifying pace. He could have contested for pole with a lap like that. Sure, the track is basically dry, except in a few spots, but still. And he's up by 2.5 tenths. The track is basically dry at this point, it seems like. AJ finally goes into the pit lane. Matthew Stotts will dart in with him. AJ had a hard time finding his box there, it looks like. That or he was waving for no reason. It is a required 4-tire stop. And here comes Matthew Daly right in behind him. I'm sorry, Matthew Stotts. Excuse me, wrong Matthew. I was like, holy crap, how is he catching up that strap? He's a lap down. Matthew is nowhere near either of them. AJ is on his way out. Stotts is yet to be released. Now he is clear. Right as AJ hits the pit speed limit line. So they took their mandatory stops at the literal last opportunity. 2 to go here. Well, it's true that that pit cycle did get Matthew Stotts about 2 seconds closer. He really sent it into the pit lane. But it's going to take a lot more than 2 seconds. He's also faster than AJ on this lap. Again, it's all really just a formality, but it's worth pointing out he is... The difference is fluctuating. 9 seconds back, though. It wouldn't even matter if they were on different tires or not, though. That's not really a gap you can make up in 1 lap unless the car in front of you literally spins all the way out. I don't even think they are. I think AJ just had a rough set of corners when the car may have been unstable. That outside curb scares me when I see anybody touch it. Most of the curbs around here are like that, honestly. But obviously, these drivers know. They're a little more comfortable with it than even I am, and I'm the one in the commentary box, so I guess I really can't say much. What I can say is that AJ Knickel is heading through the last 2 corners, and he is 1 apex away from a 12th victory in 16 contests. Another sweep. Bring out the brooms for AJ Knickel here from the Red Bull Ring. Matthew Stotts will cross for a double second place result. As if he never really left. And Matthew Daly, after missing the sprint race due to technical difficulties, will bring home a podium in the future double podium for 44R. I am gassy all of a sudden. Excuse me if I didn't meet that in time. And Travis crossed a lap down, but at least he can say he crossed. 3 other people can't say that. 3 other people didn't have the patience to see things through to the end. And Jurgensmeyer will be the last one to cross, bringing this week's action to a close with a 4th place result after a podium in the sprint. It's time to bring words, bring interviews. Yeah. Excellent speech. No, I didn't even notice that. Alright, our interviewees have arrived, and since 3 of you 4 got double podium, or 2 of you 4 got double podiums, I'm just going to start with the order you finished in the feature. Mr. Jurgensmeyer podiumed in the sprint, but could not keep up with the late appearance of Matthew Daly, it would seem. Those AMGs are tough, aren't they? What do you think of the, is there anywhere you think you could improve the Ferrari to try and maybe make up that gap in the last third of the season here?
I have no idea. I mean, I couldn't break the entire race, but I was just more worried about keeping the car straight and bringing the car home than trying to beat them on speed, because that wasn't going to happen. So I was just riding around, not wrecking myself.
Something that a few drivers clearly struggled with today, so that's always my first step in a race, so you don't really have any incidents. You just kind of had a quiet 3rd, 4th on the evening, unless I'm missing something. I mean, I guess you're probably involved in everything that happened on the starts, but there are probably other drivers with better views of all of that, so I'll probably just get their perspectives on all of it. So I had to kind of shortchange you on interviews there, Jurg, but then just kind of... you really didn't... I'm going to say you didn't really have interest in race. You kind of didn't. You just, as you said, your goal was to just keep her on the road and produce what you could.
Yep.
Even look at... I'm actually going to check in first. If the 30-second on Stotts, is that like a legitimate pen, or was that just the game being funky?
That was
running a wreck.
Yeah, that was
running a wreck on the second lap.
Yeah, so that is definitely not standing. So Matty is 3rd, Stotts is 2nd.
Alright, so then I'll move to Matthew Daly. sort of an off-track question, but what was the Wi-Fi just spotty, or did you actually end up figuring out why it wasn't working too well in the
You
sprint?
can blame Stotts for that, actually. So, it's all Stotts' fault. And then, we got it fixed. And then got here, showed up, and then we got third and went fastest lap. So that's all we cared about, Unfortunately, we couldn't make the sprint race, but it's all good.
And I guess it must have been like a compatibility thing. I guess we've seen that before.
Yeah. Yep, once Stotts left the session, and then we joined back, and then it was perfectly fine. So I have no idea why this game is like this, but
nobody really knows. We just kind of live with it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I kind of made a slight mention of during the race, how awkward was it to adapt to these bizarre, frankly, conditions, considering you also had about, 13, 14 laps less track time than the other racers did, considering they did run the sprint.
Honestly, at the very beginning, I tried to stay back. I tried to learn the car, the setup, as I didn't get much running time. Try not to make mistakes, try not to hit anybody else, and then just stay clean, and then overall it just got me to third, honestly. And it was a really good setup. Handled the rain really well. Thought it would be really oversteery, but it's pretty good. So
Yeah, 33.5 would have been a lap time that could have almost gotten you pole. I'm sure the different conditions are also part of that, but yeah, once you got technical difficulties, enunciate Riker, out of the way, you basically got right back into them pretty quickly, I guess. And then for the second of 3 AMG drivers, because today was a very good day to be driving a Mercedes, apparently.
4.
Well, the second of 3 in the interview, in this party, because Travis did not make the cut. But Stotts with 2 second-place finishes, and 1 bogus penalty to his name. But you had a bit of a view of what was going on in the start of this future race, didn't you? Or did you? You had a better view of that, I don't know, but...
I mean, I saw it happening up front, and then what happened to Travis to my left. And then myself going off track.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was pretty self-explanatory. That corner kicked your behind the whole week, pretty much, by the looks of things. But
I never wanted to underbrake, but I eventually had to learn my lesson.
Yeah, and that's, I guess I should start chronologically. In that sprint race, you were super close to AJ at the end, but just, you just couldn't, was it just a matter of just couldn't find a chance to pass, or did he just have some defensive driving that it just couldn't be explained through a broadcast?
It's just we were better at certain parts of the track. Like I felt like I was pretty good at the first part of the track, or at least the first 2 corners. I think it is. Yeah, the first 2 corners, and then I thought I was pretty good at the last 2 corners. But everywhere else, he just kind of had me beat pretty bad, especially that corner where I don't know where to brake and stuff. So, I mean, he did what he had to do. He didn't spin when I was right behind him or on him, So even after I hit him, he kept it together. So,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't care. I was happy about second. I didn't care. It just felt good to drive one of these things again. I love driving the GT3 cars, so it was fun to drive it again.
And then sort of your perspective, because, well, I mean, I got it all on the stream, but, a driver's eye is always helpful to kind of put a crash into perspective of just the sheer madness of the first 2 turns, essentially, because that little kink is not turn 2. I will hear no arguments.
Oh, I agree.
Well, I guess rather the race start and then also the restart had separate incidents. But as for the race start heading up the hill, what on earth was going on there? Because I could not process all of it at once. There was too much.
Are we talking about where what's his face hit Dylan? Is that the first part? Which one? Well, or Luis? I think that's his name. Yeah, Luis. Oh Lord. Is that we talking about the first wreck or the second wreck? Or am I stupid?
The first wreck, basically.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I can't really remember how it all started. I just knew that Dylan and Luis got together, and I think Dylan spun or Luis. I don't know who spun. Honestly, there was so much going on. I also had people beside me and stuff like that, so I didn't really get a good understanding of what happened in the first one. But the second one, I got a pretty good understanding of because I had to avoid it. That shit was wild.
Censorship somewhere.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. The second, and I also saw like a separate incident, but I think you were probably too busy trying to make turn 2, 3, second hairpin to really understand that either. But as for the second crash on the caution restart, I believe you were further up the running order than AJ at the time, which is kind of why I'm asking you this, but that might be wrong. I don't even remember.
You're talking about right after turn 1, right? Like right there, like right at the exit or whatever. You talking about that? And then leading up to turn 2 as well, where Travis got punted. That stuff too. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know who. I think it was Luis ran into Travis, I think, and then Travis ran into Logan because he got hit from behind, and I think Logan spun from it, and I took evasive action, because I'm the greatest of all time when it comes to that. So I went around the left side because that's where I go, and I think I still had someone beside me. Oh yeah, I got a penalty. Yeah, no, that's some bull, but that's okay. That's all taken care of. Got a penalty. It's whatever. And then going into turn 2, I went to pass Travis, and lo and behold, the person right behind us is Luis. So I actually got hit by Luis. I don't know if it showed on the stream. I don't know if it caught it, but it got me a little bit. And then he went to move over after barely getting me and destroyed Travis. So that's what happened. But we're on cold tires, so and I, including myself, we just need to be a little bit better on the braking and understand that you're not able to brake normal right after a restart. That's just not how that works. So yeah.
Yeah, no, not really.
That's hilarious, though.
Especially when the Porsche can probably brake later, being lighter. But nonetheless, from seemingly oblivion to a double second place for Matthew Stotts, and don't know where you went or why you left, but it seemed like you didn't really leave for long.
Yeah, who knows?
But now we move on to the man that's sweeping the nation at this point. AJ Knechel with 2 more wins under his belt. Some people in this league probably can't even count that high. What is it, 12 now?
What kind of transition was that?
I don't know. Goodness. You know how my interviews are. I make things up as I go along.
So yeah, no, I think we're at 10. I'm not quite sure. I think it's 10 though.
Maybe I can't even.
Oh wait,
count,
what are you talking about? The championships or the
number of wins? Not.
Oh,
I know you have 10
this season. I
championships.
think it's 10. Yeah, no, I thought you were talking about the championships in a row. I think we're at 12 GT3 championships in a row. So more than the wins.
No, we're
this
at
season.
10.
Are we?
10 championships
in a row.
There's only been 10 seasons of our GT3, AJ. Not
no,
in
that's
this
wrong.
game anyway.
There has to have been 12. I don't believe you. Anyway, let's move on. What questions you got for me this week?
Maybe
buddy?
we can't count that high either. I don't know. That was an ugly sequence of events there. Anyway, well, I guess the main thing to ask is just, I guess the simplest terms is how did you do it, but like where did, where were you able to find this much confidence, even with the conditions being probably some of the weirdest in ARC history for one race weekend?
I mean, well, first off, I just want to say, like, super cool having Stotts and Travis back on the track. I really like racing with those guys, and nice to have people in and around my ability. And the racing is really good. So, but yeah, getting to the conditions, I just really like the rain, honestly. I'm a rhythm driver, I would say. So, like, you know, as the puddles start forming and I kind of get into a rhythm, I get more comfortable, and I try not to push it too hard. And I think that's where some other drivers have been kind of faltering when it comes to difficult conditions. Like, some of them set up more for going outright fast, and it doesn't pay off when you're, you know, when you're pushing so hard and you might nick a puddle or whatever. It's just, yeah. But,
Bad
yeah.
throat cold. And then you're a separate view, because I don't know, Stotts didn't seem to have the best recollection of what happened on that second race, or the restart. We'll go with that, the caution restart, because Stotts kind of told a different story from what I thought I saw. So a third pair of eyes never hurts, I suppose.
On the restart?
Yeah, heading up towards turn 1, basically.
Yeah, I was just taking a look at that. I mean, to me, it just kind of seemed like, you know, Travis I don't want to say it was an unpredictable restart, but I mean, he definitely did. He went early and then lifted out of it because he got a little slidey, but headed up to turn 1, I mean, I didn't think there was a lot of contact. I didn't really see much from where I was at, but I did see it kick off in 3. But yeah, what happened in 1? I'll take a look here, but...
Well, I mean, Stotts said that like on the restart, it was like a thing of Luis getting to the back of Travis, and that sent Travis into.
Oh yeah.
Logan.
So that was in turn 3. So I don't know what happened with Logan. I saw Logan spin across the track, and I just barely avoided that. I didn't know if that had anything to do with any prior contact or whether he got hit or anything. But no, I saw the wreck. I can't really add much to it, but that I can take a look at it now, but because I'm just about to get to the point in the replay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I have it right here.
I mean, well, I guess
it looks like Logan checks up, and then Travis gets in the back of him, and then Luis can't stop and hits the back of Travis pretty hard and cleans Logan out. So I mean, that's just racing, to be honest. But yeah, up to turn 3, that was where the craziness kicked off. I would say the spray was pretty bad. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be super bad because the track wasn't like stupid wet, but it's hard to see going up the hill there. And then Luis outbraked himself and got into the back of Travis pretty hard and punted him out of the way. And then when he came back on the track, Luis cut across the track and hit me, and I nearly dropped it again. I spent basically the whole straight collecting it, and he said he'd moved over because he didn't have an indicator. So I don't know. Just a lot of chaos, and I'm glad to have made my way up to second through it, because could have gone a lot differently.
As a viewer, I might have preferred that. But yeah, nevertheless, I had a third question, but I kind of forgot what it was. That's a yikes.
Damn. I mean, yeah, not much happened in the race, in all honesty.
Especially not up where you were. Anything that was happening, it was mostly in the sprint, or it was in like the midfield.
But hey, we have a pretty good race coming up, though. Next week is our fun Zolder night race we do annually. I'm excited for that. I really like Zolder. I really like night racing, so should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, at least the conditions added to the race, because the racing itself was not by no means a spectacle, I suppose. But Yeah, and I'm not remembering what that question would have been.
Did the
so...
third question have anything to do with Dylan?
Actually, no, it had to do with the caution, which I guessed was to do with Dylan, but that caution that came out at the, to
At
cause
the
the
very
restart.
start, yeah, so somebody went wide, hit a sign, I didn't catch who did
That's
it,
what I
and
thought.
then, yeah, I
would've
was
been
watching
Dylan.
I was watching my mirror and I saw the sign landed directly on the racing line, so just precautionary, we decided to throw the yellow flag, get the sign out of the track, get it to despawn, and then go back racing. Better than, cleaning somebody's splitter out off of a sign that got knocked onto the track. Not really fair for anyone, but a couple of debris scares in that race, but nothing big enough to bring out a full safety car except for that one. So pretty good race, pretty clean. Everybody kept it on track given how tricky the conditions were, and I'm pretty proud of the guys who managed to finish the whole race. It's good luck for the league when we can manage to finish. Despite the low car count in this series, since we are the last Project Cars 2 league standing at this point. Which...
Yeah. And even then, its time is ticking down. I kind of had a bit of a thought about that when the race started to get really dull.
This is the last GT3 season on this game, so hopefully GTR Revival carries us into the future. And that's late 2024 release date by the look of it, and that we'll see what the plans are for the future, but yeah.
That's the look for the future, but as for the present, bit of a custom segue into our amazing sponsors here in Auto Racing Connected, starting of course with our premier partner, DIVEBOMB Motorsport, who just recently went through a rebrand, as did ARC itself, so you've probably seen the results of that on the social media posts all over the place. Also to SimLeague Pro, thought them ARC would be a lot harder to organize for our moderators and admins that keep track of things and handle recruitment. To SimRap Market, professional livery design creators for iRacing and for any other sim racing you can think of. IMB Racewear, ARC's sim racing apparel sponsor, for gloves, boots, and whatever else you need to use when you're using a sim rig. I don't know. I use a wheel. The Racing Rats, ARC's Assetto Corsa mod partners. They work with us not only to organize the Assetto Corsa leagues, but also to provide the cars for it. And lastly, to James McAdam Photography and AJ Kinnickle Design, our partners in photography and graphic design that keep our social media page looking vibrant, we'll say. But that will do it for us from ARC, winding down the GT3 season, winding down our time on Project Cars 2. Until next time at Zolder, goodbye.